It's the moment you've not been waiting for. Hi, welcome to the stream. If I sound tired, it's because I am. Almost didn't do this, but I was like, you know what? It'd be more fun if I did. It'd be much more fun if I did. So, let us see here. Okay. I think I got most everything. Okay. Well, let's start off with what I've got hidden behind my wonderful start screen. Click. SCP Foundation. I love coming to this website. It's so very, very good. Oh, that's cool. The different branches. That's awesome. Wow. That's really cool. Here for spooks and pooks and I don't know. Oh, I love SCP. Well, let's go find some fun ones, shall we? Let's start with... Let me see here. Hello, Ash. And Darush, welcome, welcome. I'm trying to decide what I want to read first for an SCP. Oh, what do you know? Germer went live. Actually, you know what? Can I want to change something real quick. You shouldn't hit escape. Probably. I mean, it'd be nice if you were, actually watching. Okay, cool. I don't want my cursor to be all over the shop, so. I suppose I could wait for a few more people, so it's not as boring. Cursors are fine, fight the power. Well, yeah, but now you can't see mine, so you might see if I'm highlighting something. Maybe. Let's start with a good, nice, good, creepy SCP, shall we? SCP-106. The Old Man. Item number, SCP-106. Object class, Keter. Special Containment Protocols. Revision 11.8. No physical interaction with SCP-106 is allowed at any time. All physical interaction must be approved by no less than 2/3 vote from the O5 command. Any such interaction must be taken in AR-2 maximum security sites after general non-essential staff evacuation. All staff, research security, Class D, etc., are to remain at least 60 meters away from the containment cell at all times, except in the event of breach events. SCP-106 is to be contained in a sealed container, comprised of lead-lined steel. The container will be sealed within 40 layers of identical material, each layer separated by no less than 36 centimeters of empty space. Support struts between layers are to be randomly spaced. Container is to remain suspended no less than 60 centimeters from any surface by ELO 2D electromagnetic supports. Secondary containment area is to be comprised of 16 spherical cells, each filled with various fluids and a random assembly of surfaces and supports. Secondary containment is to be fitted with light systems capable of flooding the entire assembly with no less than 80,000 lumens of light instantly with no direct human involvement. Both containment areas to remain under 24-hour surveillance. Any corrosion observed on any containment cell surfaces, staff members, or any other site location within 200 meters of SCP-106 are to be reported to site security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to SCP-106 are deemed missing/KIA. No recovery attempts are to be made under any circumstances. Note, continuing research and observation have shown that, when faced with highly complex random assemblies of structures, SCP-106 can be confused, showing a marked delay on entry and exit from said structures. SCP-106 has also shown an aversion to direct, sudden light. This is not manifested in any form of physical damage, but a rapid exit into the pocket dimension generated on solid surfaces. These observations, along with those of lead aversion and liquid confusion, have reduced the general escape incidence by 43%. The primary cells have also been effective in recovery incidents requiring recall protocol. Observation is ongoing. Description: SCP-106 appears to be an elderly humanoid with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the rotting quality is observed in all forms. SCP-106 is not exceptionally agile and will remain motionless for days at a time, waiting for prey. SCP-106 is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. When attacking, SCP-106 will attempt to incapacitate prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, or tendons, then pull disabled prey into its pocket dimension. SCP-106 appears to prefer human prey items in the 10 to 25 years of age bracket. SCP-106 causes a corrosion effect in all solid matter it touches, engaging a physical breakdown in materials several seconds after contact. This is observed as rusting, rotting, and cracking of materials and the creation of a black, mucus-like substance, similar to material coating SCP-106. This effect is particularly detrimental to living tissues and is assumed to be a predigestion action. Corrosion continues for 6 hours after contact, after which the effect appears to burn out. SCP-106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. SCP-106 is able to vanish inside solid matter, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension. SCP-106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. Examples: entering the inner wall of a room and exiting the outer wall. Entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is the point of origin of SCP-106 or a simple layer created by SCP-106. Limited observation of this pocket dimension has shown it to be comprised mostly of halls and rooms with data expunged entry. This activity can continue for days, with some subjected individuals being released for the express purposes of hunting, recapture, data expunged. So that's the first just little bit of it. We'll get to the addendum. Motionless is not agile, it's me. Yeah, it'll just... But I mean, the fact that it can stay upside down for so long and just be kind of sitting there is creepy. Yeah, this is 106 is absolutely horrifying thing. We'll get to the addendum. Don't worry, I just want to talk about the SCP a little bit. And I first knew about him from the SCP game that Markiplier used to play a lot. And it's incredible to see how the SCPs have changed over the years. And you see like this, and like this is a classic. This is one of the original. Like this is a... When you say SCP, this is what people are thinking of. This is one of the things that people are like, yeah, this one. Sorry if you hear a noise. I'm turning on a fan because it's rather warm. But this is what you like. This is an SCP. This is what is scary. Now, I'm wondering what this will lead to. Okay, we'll click on this in a bit. I know you can't see the cursor. You know what? I should probably put the cursor back. Now if I'm going to circle something or point out something. Oh, don't tell me that removed the damn screen. I'll be so mad. There we go. So in a moment the cursor will be back when I get the screen back in order. Oh, fun, fun, fun. So yeah, we will click on this link after we read the addendum, because this is an actual story based off of the 106, sort of, possibly. But we'll see. Addendum. SCP Review Notes. Due to exceedingly difficult to contain nature of SCP-106, SCP is to be reviewed every 3 months or during a post-breach incident. Physical restraints are impossible, and direct physical contact appears to have no effects on SCP-106. Current SCP, as of, revolves around basic observation and immediate response. Previous, more proactive special containment procedures have been recalled due to the events of breaches. And notes on behavior. SCP-106 appears to go through long periods of dormancy, in which it will remain completely motionless for up to 3 months. The cause for this is unknown. However, it has been shown that this appears to be used as a lulling tactic. SCP-106 will emerge from the state in a very agitated state, and will attack and abduct staff and cause gross damage to its containment cell and the site at large. Recall protocol data expunged. SCP-106 appears to hunt and attack based on desire, not hunger. SCP-106 will attack and collect multiple prey during a hunting behavior event, keeping many alive in the pocket dimension for extended periods of time. SCP-106 has no determinable limit and appears to collect a random number of prey items during an event. The inner dimension accessed by SCP-106 appears to be only accessible by SCP-106. Recording and transmission devices have been shown to still operate inside the dimension, though recordings and transmissions are very degraded. It appears that SCP-106 will play with captured prey. This appears to have full control of time, space, and perception inside this dimension. SCP-106 appears data expunged. In the event of a breach event by SCP-106, a human within 10 to 25 years of age bracket will be prepped for recall, with a compromised containment cell being replaced and restored for use. When the cell is ready, the lower subject will be injured, preferably via the breakage of a long bone, such as the femur, or the severing of a major tendon, such as the Achilles tendon. Lower subject will then be placed in a prepped cell, and the sound emitted by said subject will be transmitted over the site public address system. SCP-106 will typically begin to gravitate toward the lower subject within 10 to 15 minutes after hearing the subject. Should SCP-106 not respond to the initial broadcast, additional physical trauma is to be administered to the lure subject at 20-minute intervals until SCP-106 responds. Multiple lure subjects may be used in the case of major breach events. SCP-106 will typically enter a dormant state after finishing with a lure subject. In addition, subjects may data expunge. Agent after release by SCP-106. Subject had been missing for 2 hours. Subject remained alive for 1 hour after release. Yikes. Torment for 3 months me again. Just I really relate to this guy. Let me just melt everything real quick. Oh wait, I can't do that part. Okay. Yeah, it's a simple thing. Just a dude that corrodes things and has a pocket dimension where he sucks people in and does something to them. Not exactly the grand, holy shit, oh my god, this is a nightmare sort of thing that we expect, but still good. So, let's read The Young Man. Well, how long is this actually? Oh, not that long. Nobody could like Corporal Lawrence. That's not to say that nobody tried, or that he was somehow unfriendly, merely that he was one of those that seemed to be wired differently. However, in the trenches of World War I, normalcy was at the best a relative term, and one that had minimal relation of life, such as it was. Lawrence fought, listened to orders, and didn't disrupt the other soldiers, and that was all that was required. So while people felt increasingly uncomfortable around him, in a place where flesh rotting off your bones while you were still alive was a baseline of concern, a little personality conflict ranked several levels below a paper cut. Lawrence, for his part, dealt with it as he always had. This is to say, remained totally unaware of the avoidance. Same way a man blind from birth cannot mourn the memory of color, Corporal Lawrence couldn't bemoan a lack of company. He was quiet, he had nobody to talk to, and still, as he had nothing to do for long stretches of time. The enemy trench, less than a mile away, had gone silent for several days, letting boredom and nervousness sink in even more than normal, coupled with the unease that seemed to radiate off of Lawrence like heat waves. The worst part was there was no distinct reason to dislike the corporal. He was a plain man, average height, average build, bland of face and of voice and action. Nobody could recall him raising his voice in joy or anger. He did have the occasional odd mannerisms, however. He tended to stare a beat or two longer than was acceptable to people. He rarely slept as well, and bunkmates said he would mumble in his sleep almost constantly. Content of those nocturnal ramblings, when they could be understood, were often odd and potentially unsettling. One private moved to another barracks when he heard the name of his daughter pass Corporal Lawrence's lips, followed by a bubbling, muffled giggle. Yikes. It was strongly theorized he was sent over the trench by his commanders more out of a desire to have him away than for his minimal combat skill. He and 14 of his fellows were sent across the nightmarishly scarred waste of the no-man's land between the trenches what? I've never seen that word before. What the fuck is that? Reconnoiter? Reconnoiter? What? I'm sorry, my brain is dumb. Hold on. Let's do this together, shall we?
Reconnoiter.
Reconnoiter. Huh. Reconnoiter. I've never heard that word before. That's interesting. To reconnoiter the enemy trench and secure it if possible. Many seemed to hope that Lawrence would have the opportunity to prove his devotion to his country by making the ultimate sacrifice for it. It was while he was gone, that 3-day gap as the men held their breath, waiting for a surprise volley of shells, that someone started asking questions. Whereas before it was almost taboo to speak of Corporal Lawrence since the departure of both him and his aura, rumor seemed to descend with the passion of the denied. Nobody remembered him talking of home. No sweet-smelling letters came, no soggy, dirt-streaked letters left. He mentioned his dreams often, and griped sometimes with men over missed foods or pleasures, but never with any real passion. It's French-based. It's from raconter. It's French. Questions started to float among even the higher levels of the command. Nobody was able to actually find his station orders. He'd come in with a squad of reinforcements transferred from France, but there was no paperwork. The rest of the reinforcement squad had never seen the man before he'd lumped in with them the night before the trip, along with the ships and scraps of other squads decimated by the Germans. Whispers filtered among the grunts of the corporal being a curse. Nearly every man who shared a bunkhouse with him had gotten trench foot, and the rooms he haunted always seemed to smell more musty and sickly sweet, even for the trench. Reconnaître. Reconnaître? It's fucking French. They'll change how that word pronounced 3 times in the next 2 years. Hoity-toity bastards. The men sent over the no-man's land with Corporal Lawrence heard and cared for none of this. Just another man among many, all with death certificates awaiting a stamp that could fall at any moment. They moved fast and low, from crater to crater, slipping over slick mud and barbed wire, the only thing that seemed to grow in that blasted waste. Charging the last spurt and into the trench, they were greeted not with the harsh bark of German orders and rifles, but a dense, close silence. Preparing for ambush, the men started to filter into the tunnels and the hull of the trench. Sorry to interrupt. Please continue. No, it's fine. This is not one of my reading streams. I will, interact more with you guys more than I would on a reading stream where I would just read the whole story and go through it, because I think it's more interesting with this because we can take its time and you can see it on the screen and read along if you wanted. Whereas before I'd have just the picture of, Emi Reads or whatever. The men, already nervous, were not calmed by their investigation. The trenches stank of mold, sweat, and a thin undertaste of rotten fruit. A vile, cloying slime seemed to have pooled in every divot and crack, sticky as glue and itchy on the flesh. In a world where rats and insects would try to snatch the food from your mouth even as you ate, they saw nothing alive, not so much as a fly. An armory lay in chaos, munitions spilled on the ground, rifles tossed like pickup sticks. The mess hall had been reduced to ruins, and tables and chairs piled in the center of the room, charred and twisted. The rations seemingly stamped into the dirt by many feet, and still nothing alive or dead was found by the increasingly anxious soldiers. Oh, small warning. This gets graphic. Private Dixon found the first body and managed to cry out before vomiting. They knew it had been a man only because nothing else of that size could have been there. It lay on the floor of the barracks. The entire floor. The flesh of it had been smeared somehow, spread like butter over the rough dirt floor. Bones, already looking pitted and rotten, stuck out at random angles like dead trees in a still swamp. The skull rested on one of the highest bunks facing the doorway, 10 gleaming white fingertip bones crammed into the cracked eye sockets. As one man went to examine it, he found the back of the skull had been crushed open, the rotting, sagging sponge of a tongue stuffed into the otherwise dry cavity. More remains were found, each seemingly more unsettling and strange than the last. A ring of hands and a sandbagged watch-post, 10 of them, fingers interlaced like a basket, the wrists ragged and broken. 2 men in a tunnel, skin leathery and thin as mummies, eye sockets staring and empty, mouths locked impossibly wide, their clothes mere rags under an oily black scum. The latrine sent even the hardiest back, gagging and shivering, overflowing with excrement and offal. Gobbets of meat bobbed and oozed in the foul sludge, the whole surface dotted with what looked like thousands of clean, slick eyeballs, nerves and tendons fanning out like goldfish tails. Corporal Lawrence was the first to find the hole, the other men loudly debating the better part of valor and their rapid withdrawal from the nightmare trench. It was small, in a section of fresh digging, the start of a new arm of trenches projecting closer to the enemy lines. No more than 4 feet across, it seemed to be the accidental uncovering of a natural chamber, the empty blackness of it defying investigation. Private Dixon, recovered and blessedly numb from his previous ordeals, saw the corporal prod the edge of it with his boot, then crouched to peer in, then suddenly slide in head first before the private could do so much as utter a shout of question. The private was a good soldier and rushed to the perceived distress of his fellow. When questioned later, he could provide little illumination as to what happened over the 2 minutes Corporal Lawrence spent in the hole. He could see nothing, the light of a torch seemingly gobbled up a few feet from into the dense blackness. There were sounds, the rustle of movement over loose stone or rubble, an odd liquid shifting, a dry rustle that made him think of insect husks he used to collect in the summer. As he shouted for aid, there was a sudden upwelling of a repulsive stench, like a reptile house gone sour and old, and his fellow soldiers found him retching helplessly beside the hole when they came around the turn. It was as they rushed to Private Dixon's aid that a hand emerged from the hole. They stopped and raised rifles as one body, roaring for the owner of the pale, trembling hand to identify itself. As they watched, another hand joined the first, followed by the pale, shivering head of Corporal Lawrence. He was streaked and smeared with a tarry black ooze, hacking and coughing thinly as he hauled his body up beside that of the gasping private. As they moved to help the man, the corporal vomited up a heavy stream of the same repulsive slime that coated his body in smears and globs, his curled, shuddering body voiding more of it into his saturated, foul pants. They were hesitant to touch him, finally doing so after the seemingly endless river of grimes stopped pouring from him. He was insensible, eyes rolling and wide, body as limp as a boned fish. The men quit the trench with all speed. Half dragging the corporal, they ran with no thought of cover or death, only escape. They crossed in record time, having falling into their home trench like so much cordwood, gasping and shivering. One man known to have bludgeoned a German to death with a brick curled on the floor in a sobbing heap. The commanders moved quickly, isolating the men and trying to calm the most lucid for a report. What spilled out would have been immediately dismissed as lies and hallucinations were it not for the earnest, pleading stares of those reporting. Command calmed them with explanations of battle fatigue and strange gas weapon tests, and shared silent, focused stares as the cowed men were ushered out. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Corporal Lawrence had little to report. Of his time in the hole, he could or would say little. He stated that he had slipped and fallen into what must have been a long, blocked underground pool or perhaps a buried latrine. Of the sounds and smell reported by the private, he had nothing to say, only that he had struggled a short time, then managed to get back out just as the men arrived. Truly, he seemed none the worse for wear. In fact, he seemed in better spirits than many had remembered ever seeing him, favoring the commanders with a wide, giddy smile as he dismissed with a warning not to discuss the events. The corporal proved a changed man over the next few days. He was more talkative, but quickly had men wishing for his old, unsettling silence. He rambled about the joys of closed spaces, of creation and destruction that seemed to spring up all around them, about human pleasures missed, and the dimensions and ages of which made some men threaten Corporal Lawrence with a quiet and ignoble death, which only seemed to stretch the near constant smile of his face even wider. Private Dixon, one of the corporal's bunkmates, whispered to a friend that he had woken to find the corporal standing over him at night, his eyes as bright and flat as silver dollars. They found the private the next day snarled in barbed wire, his intestines spread nearly 10 feet out around him in every direction. Not one man from the trench survived the Great War, although few died in battle. A wave of sickness took the trench a few days after Private Dixon's death. A strange, wasting sickness. It seemed to eat the flesh like acid. Men waking and finding previously healthy flesh eaten down to the bone, oozing and blackened. A sergeant was found in the latrine, beset by a living carpet of rats. They refused to quit the body even when shot, and attacked several men before the body was recovered. Relief finally came, the bulk of the men being sent to various hospitals, many wasting away before they'd even reached a bed. Corporal Lawrence was remanded to a French mental ward, transferred after several complaints from the hospital proper when he was first sent. It seemed his behavior hinted at a growing mental imbalance, culminating with an attempted sexual assault of a nurse, which ended with the loss of 3 fingers from her right hand and the vision in her right eye. The corporal would rant quietly to other patients, whispers about endless halls, pursuits in the dark, flesh laid out like pages of a book. It was dismissed as so much war fatigue, even as his behavior grew less violent and more unsettling. He vanished several times from the ward, only to appear several hours later, as if nothing had happened. When pressed, he would begin to sing "My Bonnie Lies Over the Sea" in an endless monotone, until the doctors left exasperated. Others on the ward clamored to be transferred from the Whispering Madman. A stale, musty foulness seemed to sit in the air wherever he stayed, and incidents of infection and the strange, consuming sickness that had beset his home trench seemed to follow him like a cloud. Numerous attempts were made to transfer the man, only to be met with bureaucratic confusion. No records were found of the man. No entry papers, commendations, or incidents. Not even a birth certificate. Through it all he sat, for hours on end, cross-legged on his bed, occasionally humming tunelessly, or rambling off the names of his ward-mates between short, bubbling giggles. Why did you make that noise, you thing? Corporal Lawrence and 18 men vanished one November night between a 5-minute nurse rotation at 3 in the morning. The room reeked of rust, oil, mold, and sweet rot. Thick black swaths of crumbling ooze coated the bed and several of the walls, wide patches of it smearing and eating into the floor. Of the men, there was no sign, at first. As they searched, one nurse shifted a bed aside, only to shriek and nearly trip across one of the sunken, reeking depressions in the floor. In a tight, perfect spiral were what appeared to be hundreds of teeth, resting neatly on the floor. After counting, they accounted for the total of all the teeth of every living soul in that ward. But one. The corporal was never found, nor were the men. The incident was swallowed by the constant barrage of horrors from the front, and forgotten with ease. Stories of a cursed trench wandered across the front lines, often squelched for being bad luck. Still they came, stories of strange deaths, of disappearing men found days later, alive but broken and twisted beyond comprehension. Stories of a strange, dark figure stalking the bomb-riddled towns of Europe. This may be the only known image of Corporal Lawrence ever recorded, taken several days after his return from the hole in the German trench. Fucking creepy as all balls. Just bleh. And the fact that he looks just like the 106. Good stuff. Good, disgusting, creepy stuff. I love it. That's what SCP's all about. Alright. Wow, that's 106. I hope you guys enjoy him and all his goopiness. Let's go back to Series 1, shall we? Okay, this is a fun one. SCP-252. Object Class. Safe. A breeding pair is maintained under the direction of marine biologist Dr. Personnel should not approach the containment tank unless they have been previously prepared for the anomalous effects of the animals. Additional specimens of SCP-252 may exist in the wild. All crossed out. Current specimens are considered sufficient and further acquisitions are not a priority. Containment of information regarding encounters will consist of standard cover story 53, Drunken Sailor, and administration of amnestics as necessary. SCP-252 is a subspecies of Dosicetus gigas. Mature specimens are noticeably smaller than average, reaching no more than 1 meter in length and weighing a maximum of 40 kilograms. Dissection shows the absence of an ink sac and increased density of chromatophores, approximately 20 times colorphobes, approximately 20 times normal adult behavior. Behavior is identical in most ways to mundane specimens except when hunting or threatened. When a member of SCP-252 detects prey, they exhibit aggressive behavior and move towards the target at maximum speed while rapidly cycling the chromatophores. This color shifting has a hypnotic effect on prey animals that make visual contact, causing them to cease all defensive behavior and flee until grappled. So, we're going to read this part. When threatened by a predator or otherwise agitated, SCP-252 rapidly metamorphs into an unidentified aquatic life form of extreme size with an indeterminate physiology and extremely destructive demeanor. Physical attributes in this state are in a constant state of change. Size fluctuates between 50 to 70 meters in length, with no fewer than 50 and occasionally as many as 200 appendages of various natures. Appendages shift constantly between sucker tentacles averaging 5 meters in length, insectoid limbs terminating in barbed pincers, and humanoid arms and legs ending in sharpened talons. Details and positions of appendages of the body are also vary randomly, with the only constant being a cluster of tentacles around the head obscuring the mouth area. It is not currently known how this rapid growth is achieved. Due to the potential for containment breach, no research on the matter is currently authorized. Now that's crossed out. Here's why. All animal life, excluding others, SCP-252 and unmundane squid species, will attempt to escape the vicinity by the most direct route possible. This fear response can cause the targets to harm themselves as they flee into hazardous conditions or ram repeatedly into container walls. Roughly 95% of the subjects encountering an raids SCP-252 develop a phobia of cephalopods. It is not known if this is an additional anomalous effect or a normal behavior upon reaching traumatic experiences. Upon review of security footage during containment, was determined that SCP-252's metamorphosis is in fact an advanced hallucination induced by the shifting pattern of chromatophores. These hallucinations cause the victim to see SCP-252 as a titanic sea creature with an excessively large number of tentacles. Specific details vary greatly from subject to subject, but the hallucinatory creature constantly presents as a greatly exaggerated cephalopod with tentacles clustered around the mouth area, additional appendages with talons or pincers, and the general impression of all features are fluid and randomly shifting. Subject removed from visual contact with SCP-252 will remain convinced that their hallucinations were a real sea monster and will attempt to rationalize any logical contradictions inherent in their delusion, such as a 100-meter monster swimming in a 10-meter enclosed tank. This rationalization and the lingering phobia is thought to be a form of post-hypnotic suggestion. So, if you're not catching up, which I understand sometimes can happen with things, this SCP, when they first encountered it, they thought it was this massive, huge sea creature. This crazy, unknown life form that was like constantly shifting and changing and like, oh, it's a squid. It's a 3 meter long, it's a meter long squid. It's a 3 foot long squid that just has the ability to make its color changing stuff shift to a point where it makes you think that it is that giant creature. It's a little fucking internet faker thing. It's hilarious. I love this little thing. Subjects viewing a video of agitated SCP-252 who have never been exposed directly experience a much less severe fear reaction and are able to perceive the squid despite the hallucinations. Subjects describe the illusionary monster as fake-looking and nonsensical, but still find it moderately frightening. After secondhand exposure, subjects develop a partial immunity to the full effects of direct exposure. Repeated direct contact after inoculation by the video further lessens the effects. Climatized subjects can develop a complete immunity to the fear effect and experience only the vaguest awareness of the hallucinations. Cthulhu fanboy / girl species. Yeah, kinda. I should read SCP-2662, shouldn't I? Addendum. SCP-252 came to the Foundation's attention after numerous reports of sea monster sightings by commercial fishermen off the coast of Agent. Secured a specimen at greater than usual personal danger. Commendation for the performance above and beyond the Call of Duty recommended. Agent allowed himself to be exposed to SCP-252's effects during first contact. Initial containment procedures were based on his reports of the specimen's size and physical capabilities, resulting in an excessive expenditure of researches. Disciplinary action recommended, pending oversight review. I mean, why would you have to do that? You were close. Mind affecting, not mind break. Cognito hazard. Yes. Alright, let's go find SCP-2662, because that's a fun one. Boom. I quite enjoy this SCP a lot. He is fun. We'll do some hopping around and have some fun. Like, I'm not gonna be like, let's read the ones. And I would like to do this more often because I love SCPs. And we may get Lava's Wish that we get through to SCP-6666. But I'd like to read the ones connected to that as well. So, why do I have 2 ads? I don't think like I said, I don't think I know 6820. Hold on, I'm gonna look that up on my phone real quick so I don't spill anything. Sorry for slight silence. Well, long-ish, but we'll get to that one. I think we'll do that one today. Like I said, I got a few I'd like to check out. So, SCP-2662. 2662, Object Class, Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Containment of SCP-2662 is primarily focused on preventing unauthorized entry into its containment unit. For this purpose, On-Site Task Force Tau 9 belligerent bodyguards have been organized to guard SCP-2662's containment unit and keep track of new religious followings focusing on the worship of SCP-2662. Task Force Tau 9 authorized to use lethal force if necessary. All members of Task Force Tau 9 are to be tested biannually for cognito-hazardous influence. As containment of SCP-2662 is completely voluntary, it is currently contained in a large humanoid containment unit with a standard safety measures for low-risk humanoids as detailed in Document 0998-KA. Additionally, SCP-2662 is allowed 1 copy of a daily newspaper of his choice, a computer, and requested computer games totaling no more than $50 every month. Description: SCP-2662 is a cognito-hazardous entity approximately 4 meters in height, 200 kilograms in weight. SCP-2662 appears to be a vaguely humanoid shape with approximately 20 additional muscular hydrostats in similar structure to cephalad limbs attached to its back. These limbs are fully functional and allow SCP-2662 to perform up to 10 different tasks at once. SCP-2662's primary anomalous effect occurs only after long-term repeated exposure, usually by being in the same room or interacting daily with SCP-2662. Subjects exposed to SCP-2662 for a period of 6 months or longer are at risk of becoming acutely aware of SCP-2662's wants or needs and are compelled to fulfill them. They may also suffer from quasi-psychotic episodes when under stress. SCP-2662 is unable to affect humans that have a 2 or higher MARS, Mind Affecting Resistance Scale, score. SCP-2662's secondary anomalous effect is a spontaneous generation of religious followings at an approximate rate of at least once a month. This generation is involuntary and causes SCP-2662 notable stress. Religious groups generated by SCP-2662 usually focus on attempting to break into its containment unit in order to perform various rituals that are violent and/or sexual in nature. These groups tend to be highly organized and appear to adapt to each failed attempt, despite them being generally no contact between different generated religious followings. Below is an incomplete log of incidents relating to SCP-2662. The full list can be found in Document 2662-1. Incident 2662-07. A religious group known as Towards Him successfully broke into SCP-2662's containment. So, simple summary of SCP-2662. Sorry, I'm very thirsty. Is that it's basically teenage Cthulhu. Like, he's not actually Cthulhu because those things just are on his back, and it doesn't say it's on his face, but he's basically supposed to be teenage Cthulhu. And religious groups that worship everything he does will follow him from time to time. Incident 2662-07 log excerpt. SCP-2662 is seen taking a shower in preparation for sleep. Welcome researcher KM. There's a loud noise as previously undiscovered explosives are detonated underneath the center of SCP-2662's containment unit. 5 injured civilians climb out of the hole left by the detonation. SCP-2662 leaves the shower to investigate the noise. Agents Blank and Plank notify Task Force Tau 9 of the breach and containment. They attempt to suppress the initial 5 civilians unsuccessfully as 5 more arrive with weapons. After a brief struggle, agents are pinned down and tied with rope by the civilians. The injured civilians approach SCP-2662. The uninjured civilians stab their hands with knives, masturbate, then draw unknown symbols on the walls with a mixture of sexual fluids and blood. 2662. Oh, come on, man. That's not sanitary or necessary. SCP-2662 appears to gag upon witnessing the symbols. The injured civilians successfully corner SCP-2662 in the shower stall. The injured civilians are seen squeezing blood out of their wounds and rubbing it onto SCP-2662 while singing. Jesus Christ, stop, please, I just took a shower! Task Force Tau 9 arrives at SCP-2662's containment unit. Task Force Tau 9 manages to suppress all civilians successfully and proceed to move SCP-2662 to a temporary unit until repairs can be completed. That's disgusting. Let's see. What log was this? 2662-13. On blank blank 2005, a religious group known as the Betrothed successfully broke into SCP-2662's containment. SCP-2662 is seen eating breakfast and reading a newspaper. Security officers stationed at SCP-2662's containment unit enter with a researcher. The researcher can be seen carrying a piglet. Can I help you? Oh, our Lord, please accept this innocent suckling swine, freshly orphaned from slaughter for both mother and father. May its soul of loss fuel you. Researcher proceeds to castrate the piglet in front of SCP-2662 and places the testes on SCP-2662's food. No thanks. I'm full. Go home. Your, Lord is pleased with the offering. Task Force Tau 9 is notified of a breach in containment. SCP-2662 attempts to read its newspaper. Researcher slits the piglet's neck and throws it on the table. Blood spatters the newspaper. What? Can you go read a Bible or something? You really, really need it. SCP-2662 puts the newspaper down. The accompanying security officers execute researcher via a gunshot to the head. They then begin consuming her. SCP-2662 leaves the scene to vomit in a toilet. Task Force Tau 9 arrives to move SCP-2662 to a temporary containment unit and detain the guards. Yeah, he really is just vibing. After further investigation, all involved personnel were civilians posing as personnel. It is unknown as to the whereabouts of the actual researcher and security officers. They dead. They are very dead. I feel like Zoe from Monster Prom follows a similar idea, only instead of a young Cthulhu, she's Cthulhu who voluntarily became a high school weeb, unless I got things wrong. No, that's literally what it is. Zoe literally went from I am an all-powerful, all-knowing cosmic entity that you must worship to being like, I'm bored of this, I'm just going to become a high school student and a massive, massive weeb. And I love her. She is amazing. Incident 2662-78. On 2014, An unnamed religious group consisting of D-Class personnel and 2 members of Task Force Tau 9 successfully broke into SCP-2662's containment. SCP-2662 was redesignated as Keter upon further review of Incident 2662-78. No. I mean, she'd love that, but no. SCP-2662 can be seen sleeping in its bed. The entirety of Task Force Tau 9 is called for an off-site mission. Against orders, Task Force Tau 9 choose to leave 4 of its members behind to keep watch on SCP-2662. 2 of the remaining members tackle and lock the other 2 in an unused containment unit. A cargo truck arrives at site where SCP-2662 is being kept. The 2 remaining members unload the cargo of D-Class personnel. They lead the D-Class personnel to Task Force Tau 9's armory. The D-Class and the remaining members arm themselves from the armory and break into SCP-2662's containment unit. SCP-2662 is aroused. Several D-Class personnel guard the exit into the containment unit, as well as the corresponding hallway. Are we moving on a schedule until next week? Agents and 2 remaining available members of Task Force Tau 9 begin undressing the D-Class personnel that are not guarding. SCP-262 attempts to alert Task Force Tau 9 to no response. Agents and begin carving symbols into the buttocks and thighs of the undressed D-Class personnel. D-Class personnel begin to engage in group sex after being carved. What the fuck? Seriously? No, look, seriously, can you go find another god? I hear Buddhism is all the D-Class 99304 attempts to pull SCP-2662 into the group. The fuck? Stop! Seriously! Lord commands you and all that stuff to cut this shit out! All D-Class personnel currently engaged in sex cease their movements. They all turn to stare at SCP-2662. Task Force Tau 9 arrives at the off-site meeting point only to be told no such mission exists. Task Force Tau 9 begin moving back to site. Oh, thank God I can control you guys now. Kinda. Oh, maturity's happening right on time. Good to know. Okay, tell me what the fuck is going on here. After the blood birthing ritual, we're going to take you to your sacred chambers where we, our families, and our lineage will remain in service to you for all eternity. The people here cage you. With us, you may go where you please. Oh, you must be kidding. I can leave whenever I want. I just have to ask. Besides, the D-Class personnel begin to continue engaging group sex. Seriously, stop! Y'all fucking disturbing. I'm not even ready to settle down with a cult yet. I'm only 200 years old. I'm barely legal. Agent, do you really think the Foundation will let you go if you ask? Well, you can certainly ask. You'll be sorely disappointed, my lord. Yeah, well, if it turns out to be the case, I can just wait until I'm strong enough to break out. In the meantime, I'm gonna sit in the bathroom and wait. Rest of you can do your stupid blood orgy. SCP-2662 moves to the shower stall and turns on the water. It sits in the shower stall for the remainder of the incident. It sits, not shits. Sits. Fun. That is an absolutely fun little SCP, who is apparently getting more dangerous as time goes on. So, we'll see how that goes in the future, shall we? Alright. I like that SCP a lot. Alright, how about we stop beating around the bush and we read my favorite SCP of all time. Which one could it be? Which one could it be? Except for those that already know which number it is. Which one could it be? SCP-2935. Oh, death. Classified by authority of the SCP Foundation Overseer Council. We know that this is dangerous as all fucking get up. So, let us begin. Special containment procedures. The entrance to SCP-2935 has been sealed with concrete, and access to SCP-2935 is forbidden. Description. SCP-2935 is a space-time anomaly existing within a limestone cave beneath the cemetery near Joppa, Indiana. I realize I don't want to spoil anything. The cemetery, whose last interred individual died in 1908, was discovered by Foundation personnel after radio signals were discovered emanating from SCP-2935. See Addendum 2935.1 below. The SCP-2935 anomaly is a nearly exact replicate reality of modern Earth in the year 2016, with the primary exception being that all life, including biological and non-biological, as well as any sentient entities, machines, computers, and other lifelike phenomena within SCP-2935, ended on April 20th, 2016. Information gathered by the Mobile Task Force who initially entered SCP-2935 for reconnaissance purposes points to the conclusion that all life forms within the SCP-2935 suddenly and without warning expired sometime between the hours of 0300 and 0400 Eastern Time. The reason for this is currently uncertain. So the simple summary is that every single thing on the other side of that reality is dead. Just dead. That's the start of it. So you may be like, that seems kind of lame. Why is this your favorite SCP of all time? Let's read some more, shall we? On April 28th, 2016, at roughly 0500 Eastern, a radio signal was detected by communications personnel at Site 81 near Bloomington, Indiana. The signal, though distorted and unintelligible, was traced to the unincorporated area of Joppa, Indiana, near U.S. Interstate 70. Site 81 personnel in Indianapolis were dispatched to determine the source of the signal as per Foundation policy, and discovered SCP-2935 during the examination of the area. Upon initial entry into SCP-2935, the aforementioned personnel were uncertain where they had actually discovered an anomaly, instead believing their drone had exited the other side of the cave. This was quickly corrected during observation of the surrounding area, and upon picking up the undistorted radio broadcast they had been searching for. The broadcast, which appeared to have been repeating on a loop since April 20th, was an automated message originating from Site 81 within the SCP-2935 reality. The full transcription of the message is as follows. Me downing water. This is an automated emergency broadcast from the SCP Foundation and your national government. One or more of our sites is experiencing a communication breakdown, likely due to a containment breach of unknown magnitude. All citizens are ordered to stay in their homes as containment teams work to secure the breach. This message will broadcast from April 20th, 2016 until message cuts out and then suddenly repeats. Afterwards, the Site 81 personnel contacted Site Command. Mobile Task Force Epsilon 13, Manifest Destiny, was immediately assigned to the examination and exploration of SCP-2935. Addendum 2935.2 Exploration of SCP-2935. Exploration of SCP-2935 by MTF Epsilon 13 took place over 4 separate missions, 3 manned and 1 unmanned. During these missions, several artifacts and pieces of information were recovered, with a full list of descriptions is available in Addendum 2935.3. Exploratory Mission 1, 2, 3, 4. We have some artifacts that we'll get to afterwards. So this isn't as short as it looks. So far, as I said, this is just a cave. It goes to another dimension where every single thing in it is dead. We know, through these right here, that they managed to go into the dimension. So let's keep going. Mission Abstract: to survey and collect information and samples from the area directly surrounding the 2935 insertion point. Assigned Task Force, Mobile Task Force Epsilon 13, Manifest Destiny, 4 members. The following is a transcript of audio and video recordings captured by MTF-E13, who were tasked with surveying SCP-2935 immediately after its discovery. The 4-man team, led by Agent Juno, spent just over 1 hour during the preliminary assessment of the anomaly. Begin log. Mic's on. Check. 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 Command. We hear you. Confirm that all agents are at the insertion point. Confirmed. Alright, proceed with insertion. Don't take any chances in there. We have no idea what you're going to see. Understood. Moving in. MTF E13 team enters SCP-2935. Travel through the cave system takes roughly 15 minutes, at which the team emerges on the opposite side of SCP-2935. After cameras adjust the sunlight, the surrounding landscape is visible. Christ. Yeah, holy shit. Confirm what we're seeing here, lead. Yeah, just a total lack of living vegetation, trees, grasses, everything looks dead. Temperature reading coming in at 24°C, sound right? Affirmative. It's pretty pleasant. Cloudy, but not a lot of wind. Understood. Go ahead and proceed, team. Look for any housing. Is this the area we just left? We're trying to confirm that. Can you identify anything nearby? If you go up this ridge, there should be a road up here, the one we came in on. Let's head that way. Team moves up the nearby ridge. I have my cursor here, so it can kind of be like a who I'm reading sort of thing. Yep, that's the road. Command, hard to say for certain yet, but preliminary observation points to this being the same locality as our side of the cave. Understood. Proceed with caution. Understood. Team enters north. The team moves north on the nearby road. After roughly 2 kilometers travel, team encounters a farmhouse. 2 cars sit outside. Command, there's the house over here. Going in to check it out. Understood. Team lead, have Underwood set up the broadcast relay you've got. We're going to try and respond to that signal. Got that, command. I'll set it up now. Alright, let's move in. Team moves to the front door of the farmhouse. Door is unlocked. Front parlor is vacant, and Agent Kale confirms that power still works within the structure. Agents move to the kitchen. Jesus Christ, what? 3 adult corpses, 2 female and 1 male, are seated at a table within the kitchen. A 4th corpse, a male child, lays nearby. Command, do you see this? Command, we can. Can you confirm life signs on any of those individuals? I can. The adult male is dead, and the female to his right, and to his left, and the child also dead. This had to be pretty recent. No signs of decomp. This is pretty fucked up. This newspaper on the table. April 19th, 2016. Hendricks County Flyer. Command, can you confirm the headline? One moment, team. Dinner. Look. Chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans. Confirming that headline. It's accurate with the newspaper on that date. What the fuck? It's stale, but there's no... Wall clock says the date is April 28th, 2016. That's today. Same time, too. 0945. Same as my time. How long have they been here? Boss, look, the food. What about it? It's covered in dust. They are, too. They've been here for a while, but the food, it's all stale, but it's not rotten. That chicken should have been covered in mold by now, and there's nothing. See, even the potatoes. Yeah, I see it. Team, we want you to get samples, some of that food, samples from the individuals in the room, hair, skin, fluids, if you can get them. Any electronics in the room? There's a laptop on the desk in the next room. Smartphone in that woman's pocket. Yep, battery's dead. Collect it, see if there's anything else of note nearby, and get back outside. We don't want to keep you over there too long if you don't know more about the environment. Agent Kale collects biological samples from the corpses, as well as from the food on the table. Agent Juno surveys the rest of the home. Agent Devon moves to the living room and turns on television. TV works, just slipping around. It's not a whole lot of test angles. Fuck me! Shit, boss, come here. What do you got? I think it's Home Shopping Network. Look. Television shows a set of the Home Shopping Network. 2 individuals are on screen, one laying near an empty chair and the other facing the camera. Directly. Neither individual is moving. Backdrop has been burned. Automatic fire suppression system seems to have been triggered, and red emergency lights flash off screen. Marquee at the bottom of the screen scrolls as usual. Date reads April 28th, 2016. Alright, yeah, let's get out of here. Kale, come on, we're moving. Team leaves the house and rendezvous with Agent Underwood, who's finishing setting up the broadcast. After an additional 15 minutes, MTF E13 returns to SCP-2935 insertion point. Before returning, Agent Kale collects samples of nearby vegetation for study. You know what I just realized, boss? What's that? It's summer in the Midwest. Do you feel anything is missing? What do you mean? Listen, there's nothing. No birds, no insects, no car noise. Nothing. Just the wind. It's so goddamn quiet. End log. Note, at the conclusion of this mission, team returned to the SCP-2935 access point. However, team was given additional instructions to stay within SCP-2935 and establish a forward camp and await additional members of MTF-E13. Gonna be eating foods, but we'll keep on background in the meanwhile. Okay. So yeah, their first mission there, they find everyone they find is dead, yet nothing is rotted, nothing is moldy, nothing is decayed. Pretty fucking weird, right? Ah, get myself some of that caffeine. Woohoo! Exploratory mission 2935.2, codename Overland. Mission abstract: to gain access to Foundation Site 81, and attempt to retrieve information from the Foundation server therein, and establish a forward camp there. Assigned task force: Mobile Task Force Epsilon 13, Manifest SD, 16 members. The following is a transcript of audio and video recording captured by MTF E13. The 16-man recovery team, led by Agents Juno and Roy, were given instructions to commandeer functional vehicles within SCP-2935 and reach Site 81. Extraneous or non-pertinent dialogue has been removed. For full records, please contact Site 81 Administration. Begin log. Extraneous dialogue removed. Team locates several vehicles and begins to move south towards Site 81. Main roadways are navigable due to few vehicles being on them at the time of aforementioned total death of all lifeforms within SCP-2935. Several fires are visible from the highway, including 3 downed jetliners. Examination of crash sites show a recurring theme. All inhabitants seem to lose consciousness at the same time. As a result of this, there are also few vehicle collisions, as most of the vehicles stop simultaneously. Upon reaching Bloomington, MTF E13 split into 2 separate groups. One, led by Agent Roy, would move directly to Site 81, and another, led by Agent Juno, which would attempt to access the off-site deep storage server bank. For the purposes of this log, Agent Juno's team's logs are omitted. Information gathered from the excursion can be found in Addendum 2935.3. Agent Roy's team approaches Site 81's main access point, pointing to the Lake Monroe Reservoir Dam. Access elevator is confirmed it's operational. The team descends to entry level. Roy? Yeah? I was wondering. I know you guys were on assignment, but I think it was on site on the 19th. I was thinking the same thing. I was on site that day too. You think we're in there? Well, I'll find out soon enough. I spent the entire night in the weapons lab with Faust Morocco. It's right inside. You guys hear that? Hear what? Exactly. Shouldn't there be a breach alarm? Not necessarily. Breach alarms are automated, but only if any of the containment cells trigger it. Otherwise, they have to be executed manually. Somebody had to have gotten to the office to start the emergency broadcast. It was an automated response. If I had to wager, it was probably triggered by vital monitors going flat. Vital monitors can trip to an emergency response? Not anyone by itself, but a lot of them could. Here we are. Team departs elevator. Primary access to Site 81 visible. Blah. All lights continue to function. Lockdown status is visually confirmed. Keller, get that door open. Careful, everyone. Agent Keller interfaces with the access console. Lockdown status is rescinded and the main gate opens. Team moves through check-in area. Coast is clear. Alright, boys, let's check the front offices first. Head right. Team enters Site 81, front offices. We got bodies over here. Yeah, we should expect a lot of that. Anybody recognize them? I mean, they're really dehydrated, but that's Desiree Clark and Max Westminster. John Cabin over there. This one's Lisa Watson. They're all staffed at 81. And probably working that day, too. Anybody know what time they mark on the calendars in the office? Not until first shift shows up. 8 a.m. local? Makes sense. Last checkoff is April 19th. Keller, patch in the system again and try and find out what triggered the emergency broadcast. Ullman, you and Indigo go to check the break room over there. See if... I don't know. Boss? Sorry. Shit. I wasn't expecting this. Not like this, anyway. I thought it would be messier. Breaches usually are, but this is... clean. I mean, they're pretty obviously corpses, but they're clean. No blood, slight post-mortal excretions, but it's all dried up at this point. I think it was a disease? Let's go check some samples. Swab surfaces. Indigo's kit to check for microbes. Juno's boy found a house down the without a trace of them, and Command wants to know if that's consistent. Be careful not to contaminate any areas you're collecting from. Keep your suits on, don't deglove, etc. Right, let's move. Radio if you find anything. Will do. Agents Ullman and Indigo move to a break room. Several other corpses are discovered during examination of the area. Agent Keller interfaces again with the Site 81 control system. Agents Ali, Straight, and Daniels leave the office to collect samples from nearby cafeteria. Got it. What's it say? Looks like the system was triggered at 400 hours during a routine vitals check. Apparently there was a malfunction, or rather the system thought there was a malfunction. All of the vital transmitters had stopped responding since the last check. That doesn't throw up a breach alarm? No, I don't think so. It would probably ping maintenance first, and then system command, and then site command? If nobody responded, it would probably trigger a message to 17, and if that went ignored, maybe Overwatch command. After all those timed out, it dropped into the automated failsafe, locked down the site, began broadcasting for help, and then it waited. Waited for what? A response from another site. Or literally anybody on staff. I think even level 1s can rescind timeout lockdowns. Hypothetical, though. Never seen it used like that. So nobody came calling. Nobody but us, a couple of days later. What up with the AI ADs? Alexandra's patched into the site, isn't she? Maybe they're still here. Good point. Pauses while interacting with the terminal. Here we go. Alexandra.aic is currently running. That's good. I'll wake her up. Pauses again. Alexandra, can you hear me? No response. Alexandra, this is James Keller. Are you awake? Try the text interface. Interfaces with terminal again. Nothing. It says the program is still running, but no response at all. I'll try... Huh. Nothing from Thorn either. They've all gone quiet. That's odd. Will us being here wake the other sites up since we rescinded 81's lockdown? Well, assuming they're all in the same lockdown as this one, maybe? No doubt some of them have protocols that require somebody to be on site to break a lockdown. I know Site 27 does, but that's a pretty substantial Keter wing. Of course, we could get to Overwatch and unlock them that way. I know they can remotely rescind security measures at all sites. Do you know where Overwatch is? No, do you? Nope. Hey, boss, where are you, Ullman? We're in the weapons lab. Ah. We can collect samples and lock up after. No, I want to see it. We'll be right there. Agents Roy and Keller move to Site 81 Weapons Lab. Agent Ullman and Indigo stand just inside the door. Let's have a look. Boss, It's not me in there. I'm me. I think I'm worried about what happens inside of an anomaly. We've all seen kinds of crazy shit. Places that mess with your head or whatever. Seeing my corpse isn't going to ruin my day. Team enters Weapons Lab. Agent Morocco and Faust are laying near a lab bench. The corpse of Dr. Rogers is collapsed near the door to the firing range. Room is otherwise empty, though covered in dust. Where is it? Agent Ullman leads team to the door of the firing range. Inside, the range is empty, except for a single corpse at the far end of the room, lying on the floor. We've collected samples, and I had a chance to look under a few under the scope. 100% cell death in every single one. We'll have these back to Bio in order to do a more thorough investigation, but I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, we will. Agent Roy pauses over the corpse of Agent Roy. He reaches down and turns the corpse over, revealing the firearm that Agent Roy had been testing. They're obviously not rotten or anything. You can barely even smell them. None of the biological processes that break down a body after death seem to have kicked in because, well, somewhere along the lines they stopped being biological processes. They're just dried out now. I see that. I remember this. I was only testing this for a little while. We would find it on security footage, nailed down at the time this all happened, see if it's consistent with everything else. Right. Okay, so you should probably check on our senior staff. I think Dr. Actus likes to get to bed by 9, so he'll probably be in his quarters. We're already there. He's gone. The rest of them are too. Dr. Hamilton, Dr. Love, Dr. Karsten, Dr. Mann was out in the hall. I think he was in town for that seminar on the 19th. They're just like the rest of them, totally undisturbed otherwise. Saves us that trip, I guess. Keller, get into that terminal, see if we can access the containment wings. I want to make sure there's nothing in there that... nothing that can get out, I guess. Can do. Agent Keller moves to a nearby terminal. Agent Indigo collects samples from the corpse of Agent Roy. So much talking, such dry throat. Elsewhere, Agent Straight, Ali, and Daniels examine the corpses of the Site 81 senior staff, collect samples as necessary, and taking artifacts for local observation. You guys get the feeling we're getting mind wiped after we get back from this? Why? This is a huge breach of information security, right? Hell, I could go look in in Actus's sock drawer and tell you whether he prefers boxes or brief. Who knows what we could do with, get into, accidentally or otherwise. Senior staff doesn't have as much functioning knowledge of the skips as at their site, believe it or not. The important stuff is locked down on the network, and the really important stuff is kept on vinyl somewhere. Regardless, you don't need to go snooping through his journal or anything. Actually, I take that back. If you come across a journal, pick it up. Wouldn't hurt. Amnestics hurt. You won't know either way. I'm in, boss. Looks like everything should be clear, though we'll have to access a handful manually. I can't open them from here. It should be pretty straightforward, and yeah, sort of. I'm not sure what I'm looking at. It's an encrypted security warning, but it hasn't triggered automatically. Someone would have put it there. When was it posted? About 3 days ago, so definitely after our projected date. Could very well be a glitch or something, but it's not likely. These kinds of things don't just show up. Too many fail-safes. The system won't throw up an encrypted message unless it's absolutely necessary. Or somebody put it there. Pauses. Video and audio recording equipment cuts out briefly. Right? Right. Log in, transmit it back to Juno's team, have them relay its local side, see what they can make of it. Sure. Just received a message from them. Looks like they finished up. Says they're going to roll our way here in a bit. Alright, let's head downstairs then, see what the Skips have been up to. For those that don't know, Skips, SCP. Skips. Just a quicker way of saying SCP. Team assembles outside of the staff dormitories. Team moves to lower level access elevator. Team arrives at first containment level. What's about you, boys? I feel like somebody's watching us. I feel it too. Doesn't feel right. There's something else in here. It's just 7 of us. Get your head straight. Let's move. Team begins to check safe class containment cells. SCP-2151, that big fleshy thing. Get that door open. Agents open the door. There, in the corner. Is it moving? Looks like it's moving. It's just the fucking light. Look, it's all dried out. Agent Indigo examines SCP-21511A. Yeah, this one is gone. Check that chamber. The ring should be in there. They're in here. They're all tarnished, though. This one looks rusted through. Bag 'em. Let's move on. What's next? That displacement chamber is at the end of the hall. We could check that next. The ghost girl is in there. Let's see. Wait, the cell's lit up too. Doesn't have a designation tag on it. Fuck, you smell that? Is it coming from this room? It smells like death. God, that's strong. Can you get that door open, Keller? Hang on. It's acting up. I think it's jammed. Probably a malfunction. Open the window. It's not jammed. Opens window. Oh, fuck. That one's decomposed. Christ alive, you're right. Why is it so much different? Who is that? He's got a jacket on. Hang on. Oh, man. Keller, that's you. You sure? Agent number 1703. Yeah. The name badge is, covered, but you can see the ID number on the other sleeve. See? What the fuck happened to you? I'm actually not sure. I definitely wasn't on site on the 19th or 20th. That's really weird. We'll come back to it. Let's keep going. Team moves into SCP-2996's containment cell. Isn't that Skip that... Yep. Did that ever get resolved? Not as far as I know. Agent Straight opens the chamber door. Fuck. Is the displacement chamber still functional? Looks like it. So, what's that all over the inside of the chamber? If I had to guess, I'd say the ghost girl. Did she explode? Maybe an adverse reaction to dying twice? Can you get that chamber open? I'd advise against it. Our suits aren't rated for whatever's in there. You should see the monstrosities they have to wear when they go through to clean this thing. Fair enough. Let's keep looking. Team continues to check containment cells, all with similar results. All biological anomalous entities are confirmed to have perished, while non-biological artifacts or entities had become inert. This continues for an additional hour. Something just occurred to me, boss. Yeah? Didn't you get the memo a few months ago about them moving that Skip to 19? The lizard? Yeah, I was assigned to that job. Passed through 81 on the way there? It did. I was only here a few days. Wait, what lizard? Which days? Downstairs. Come on. Team moves to lowest containment level. Agent Keller rescinds lockdown status on containment wing. Most cells are rated for Euclid and Keter class entities, but are empty. They moved the lizard here and didn't tell site staff? Only essential personnel. Staff tends to get nervous. I wonder why. Quiet. It's just around the corner. There. Team faces a containment cell. Green indicator light is lit, indicating that the containment cell is active. FYI, the lizard they're talking about is SCP-682, the indestructible lizard. We might read that one tonight. I think we'll read that one, and then we'll read 6820, and then we'll move to World of Horror. Get that door, Keller. Hey, boss, hang on. If we open that door and it's still, the way it usually is, then we're fucked. I know. Motions to Keller. Agent Keller opens the security door. Team enters containment cell. Within the cell is a large steel container. A tank of acid sits above the tank, as do several other containment-oriented machines. There's a door over there. Agent Roy opens the door to the container. How is... The corpse of SCP-682 is visible within the chamber. Entity displays no signs of life. That's impossible. That's fucking impossible. There's no way. Agent Indigo approaches the corpse and proceeds to examine it. After a short time, he steps back. Yeah, it's dead. Team remains silent for a moment. Agent Ali runs his hand across his head. I'm suddenly feeling weird about this place too, boys. Let's get topside. Do you want me to collect some samples? It can wait. Team returns to the surface. Little is discussed on the way. Team rendezvous with Agent Juno's acquisition team. Both teams dispatch automated drones to SCP-2935 access site with collected artifacts and information for local analysis. End log. So yeah, they found the literally unkillable lizard dead as a doornail. That's not good. That's not good at all. Exploratory mission 2935.3, codename 19. Mission abstract: to travel and ascertain the condition of Site 19 within SCP-2935. Assigned task force: Mobile Task Force Epsilon 13, Manifest Destiny, 16 members. The following is a transcript of audio and video recordings captured by MTF-13. The 16-man recovery team, led by Agents Juno and Roy, were given instructions to extend their mission within SCP-2935 and travel to Site 19. Begin log. Due to a technical issue with recording equipment issued to MTF-E13 team, all but one recorder failed to transmit to the broadcast relay. The remaining recorder, belonging to Agent Keller, contributed to the intermittent transmittent audio only during the entire duration of the 6-day expedition. After the first day, Command was able to relay with Agent Keller and inform him of the state of the transmitters. It is believed that Agent Keller received this message, although not certain, as Agent Keller made no attempts during the mission to repair the transmitters. The following are excerpts of Agent Keller's audio transmissions. Let's read before we get to Keller's stuff. And a reminder, Keller's corpse is decomposing inside of a containment cell in Site 81. Another Keller, and he said he was not at that site at the time. Southwest of here. Hang on. There we go. There's a lot of system messages in here. Looks like a lot of sites are trying to automatically contact 19 for assistance. I think some of these sites I haven't even heard of. That one might be same as the transmitters at 81. Yeah, but this one doesn't do an hourly check. It just pings every few seconds. Them all every few seconds. 113 hours, so it would be about 313 Eastern. That fits in our projected timetable. Power failure. There's nobody down to change the fuel cells, so it'll probably just shred them and wait for new ones. No lights until then. Not the right kind of engineer, sorry. Should be one down the hall. Yeah, he's dead. I assume since I'm still standing here, it's not working anymore. All you have to do is touch it. Bag it. Throw a sticker on it. Let them know the amulet won't do anything to them. So the amulet he's referencing is the amulet SCP-973, I think it is, which is an amulet worn by Dr. Light of the SCP Foundation. And that amulet allows Light to become the person, like the person that puts on the amulet becomes Dr. Light. So it's him inside of the amulet, and he can live forever because of it. Hang on. Door's up. I think it should be Dr. Sumerian. Over here, Agent Straight say, that's a bad place to stand. Understatement of the year. I'm having trouble getting... Our connection isn't great down here. Broken, just like the mask was earlier. No, you can blink. It's fine. Oh, excuse me, sorry. The mask is an SCP where it's like, I think if you put it on your face, It overwrites your personality and also like weeps acid. Um, this is a reference to SCP-173, the original SCP, which is that statue where if you're not looking at it, you have escaped. Welcome. Well, you've escaped, but now you're in containment with us. Keller talking to self. Hello, SCP-079. Are you awake? Nothing. That answers it. What were you expecting? Drone's here. I'm going to send it back to the access point. I'll be just a minute. Several minutes of Agent Keller quickly typing at a keyboard. Unlike previous transmissions, no other individual can be heard in the background. Just checking to see if there are any other messages we should know about. No, nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing out of the ordinary. We're good to push on. At least you look good. Man was face down at the bottom of a flight of stairs. They're all dead. Every single one of them. Haven't you figured this out yet? We're not on a goddamn recovery mission. We're not here to rescue anyone. There's nobody to rescue. Our evidence indicates that everyone is dead. Everyone and everything. 100% of Foundation sites reporting the same transmitter malfunction. 100% of Foundation sites in lockdown. Not just here, all over the world. There's no bunker they could have gotten into, no... Because it was everybody. But this isn't our reality, it's someone else's. Ours is fine. Nothing happened to ours. That's the power core ejecting the spent fuel rods. Lights out. Must have triggered an emergency breach protocol. I can't... Door's locked, you know. I can't just magic it open. I'm sorry. I'll try to get something out. This next one is big, so I'm going to take a drink before I could go for some nice iced oolong tea right now. Hey, Command. This is Keller. The on-site nuke at 19 got tripped. We're locked in down here, and Cal wants you to tell Anita that he loves her, and Daniel has family in Florida. Just let them know he's alright. That you're going to be alright. Where is, kids? He says. You get it. No, it just means the loudspeaker lost power. We're done. Transmission cuts out suddenly. So, only got Keller's information there. This is my favorite, 2935. We have read 106 and the story accompanying it. We read 252, 2662. We're going to do 2935. We're going to do 682. And then we're going to do 6820. So, we only got Keller's information. And kind of revealed a few things, it seems like. This has happened globally. Things that we're even supposed to be immortal are dead. So some nutty stuff happening here. Let's keep going. Oh, I don't want to scroll down too much. Mission abstract. To utilize an automated drone to assess the situation of the SCP-2935 reality at large, as well as recon with the MTF E13 site team at Site 19. Assigned task force, NA. One automated drone. Additional information. The following is a transcription of the audio and video recorded by an automated Foundation drone, SKF 1951, launched by Site-81 personnel at the SCP-2935 access point. The planned mission was to use the drone to gather information about the SCP-2935. I'll use this to scroll over here, it'll be easier. So let's contact MTF E13 and retrieve artifacts and data collected by the team. Begin log. Drone moves from access point into nearby road, which is used as a runway for takeoff. Drone ascends to an altitude of 3 kilometers. From this height, the surrounding area is clearly visible. The entire region is completely devoid of all forms of biological life. Many trees have collapsed, likely due to high winds, and large drifts of sand and dirt are beginning to form across roadways and houses. To the west, a storm system is forming, moving east. The drone turns east towards Indianapolis. As previously confirmed by MTF E13, U.S. Highway 70 is mostly empty of vehicle traffic, save for the occasional semi-trailer. Several large fires have broken out across the dried vegetation and buildings in nearby towns. In the distance, the Indianapolis International Airport is visible, with several other large fires nearby, likely due to downed planes. A large pillar of smoke obscures the camera briefly, and after passing, it is confirmed to have originated from a downed Southwest Airlines 737 jetliner. On approach to Indianapolis, the city appears relatively unscathed. Several small... Sorry, I'm trying to move. My arms went up and down. Several small fires have appeared to have broken out, but they've either burned out or have been put out by rain. One apartment building on the near west side appears to have collapsed, but most other structures remain intact. Drone turns north towards Site 19. Passing over the central north of Indiana reveals much of the same. Dead vegetation, dirt and sand drifts, and the corpses of animals and livestock at area farms. Occasionally a human corpse is visible, though many likely remain within their homes. Camera cuts out. Command is unable to re-establish link with the drone, although this is not unexpected. Drone continues to fly automatically towards Site 19, with the communications likely disrupted by the storm. Video link re-established. Drone now in middle of thunderstorm. Off heading slightly. Lightning strikes nearby, and camera cuts out again. After half an hour, video link is re-established. Drone begins to descend. GPS determines that drone is nearing Site 19, roughly 35 kilometers northwest of Lansing, Missouri. Is that Missouri or Mississippi? It's Mississippi. I don't fucking know. I don't care. I don't remember that shit. I don't need to. I'll look it up on Google. The far northwest, a large fire is visible. Below, another jetliner is visible, having crashed into Spartan Stadium at Michigan State University. A fire burns on the Red Cedar River just north of the university. Drone begins final descent, closing in on Site 19 compound. After clearing credentials with Site 19, the drone lands on the NE airstrip near the staff dormitory access building. The drone transmits its coordinates to the MTF E-13 team, deploys solar panels, and powers down. 5 hours pass. Drone is activated by Agent Keller, who proceeds to load a parcel of collected artifacts into the underside of the drone. Agent Keller's radio is heard receiving communications from his team, although the messages are unintelligible. Lastly, Agent Keller loads the drone with a large amount of recovered data from a recovery team hard drive. Agent Keller then crouches in front of the primary observation camera. Agent reaches forward to clean off the camera from the back of his glove, then stares into the camera. I don't have any answers. I don't think there are any. I'll do this one thing and hope that fixes it. Seal it shut. You've got to lock it in here with us. I'm sorry. Agent steps away from the drone and returns to access building. 10 minutes later, drone departs for SCP-2935 access point. Roughly 2 hours into flight, drone detects a large explosion in the direction of Site 19. Mushroom cloud indicative of on-site nuclear device being detonated is visible on the horizon. Return trip otherwise uneventful. Drone recovered on local side of SCP-2935 without further incident. Artifacts and data moved to Site 81 for investigation. Ooh, spooky. Spooky, spooky. So, at this point, what do we know? There is another universe where everything is dead. AI, anything that could have they thought lived forever, everything is 100% dead. Even bacteria is dead. The team has found the rotting corpse of Agent Keller, who was not at the site where they found his body, who somehow accessed the computers and sent a message 3 days before the team arrived there. So he was somehow alive when he came back. The team has the nuclear... They didn't detonate it. It was being detonated. They somehow tripped the on-site nuclear device at Site 19, which blew up after Keller said that line of the seal it shut. Well, what's the answer? What's going on here? Recovered data and artifacts from MTF E-13 missions. Following is a list of artifacts recovered by the MTF E-13 team on its 3 separate missions into SCP-2935. Some artifacts omitted. See Site 81 Research Department for a full list of recovered items. For information about data recovered from SCP-2935, please see additional section at the end of the addendum. Sample of various vegetation, SCP-2935 access point. All specimens were severely dried out and confirmed as to have no remaining living cells. Several various insect carcasses near SCP-2935 access point. All specimens were dried out and confirmed as having no remaining living cells. And as you can see, Every single one of these. Total cell death. Total cell death. Cell phone collected off adult female corpse. Gauntlet House is the recovery site. Samsung Note 5 smartphone in white. Last communication sent from phone on April 19th, 2016 at 20:41 hours Eastern. Message reads, "Are you guys still planning on playing cards tonight? I have Steven, but he'll probably be asleep soon." Various foodstuffs. Gauntlet House. Dried out and covered in dust, but no evident signs of decay. Analysis shows no sign of microbial life throughout any of the recovered food items. Showing a bunch of different items. Different things. Journals, skin, hair stuff. 963, SCP-963. Site 19, artifact is inert. Instance of Dr. Jack Bright that was recovered from that the artifact was recovered from was consistent with other corpses found within SCP-2935. Things are bad when everyone's dead. Things are really bad when everything's dead, including microbes. Oh yeah, that's a fucking understatement. Yeah, a bunch of crazy stuff. Alright, now for the data acquisitions. Let's not spoil that. Data source. An automated emergency response signal originating from Site 81 led to the discovery of SCP-2935. That was the message that this is an automated emergency broadcast. A log of distress pings from originating from Site 81. Massive transmitter error. Requiring maintenance. Requesting maintenance. Massive transmitter error. Requesting maintenance. Massive transmitter error. Possible breach of containment. Requesting maintenance. To Site 81 command. Massive transmitter error. Please advise. Massive transmitter error. Please advise. To Site 81 command still. Massive transmitter error. Beginning lockdown procedures. Site will lock down in 10 minutes. Site will lock down in 5 minutes. In 1 minute. Site lockdown complete. Please advise. Site 17 command. Site experiencing massive transmitter error. Lockdown procedure initiated. Please advise. To Overwatch command. Multiple sites unresponsive. Experiencing massive transmitter error. Lockdown procedures initiated. Please advise. Oh, ain't nobody to fucking answer. All dead. God, my throat. So dry. Oh, I'm gonna need to get another water bottle in a minute. How many water bottles will I down during the SCP streams? Many. Data source. Site 19 interior and exterior security camera footage. Footage shows the exact moment during which SCP-2935 event takes place. At exactly 1300 hours Eastern, footage shows all members of Site staff on camera, as well as all surrounding flora and fauna outside of Site 19, suddenly dying. No other phenomena are evident on this footage. That's just fucking creepy to see everything just drop and the plants wilt. Like, I guess the one upside is you don't see it coming, just dead. Alright. Encrypted security warning recovered from Site 81. Decryption of source revealed a hidden audio log file. Transcript of that file is below. Alright. Here we are. My name is... doesn't really matter. Was on staff at 81. If you're hearing this, you probably got some idea what the deal is here. So I don't have to explain the Foundation to you. But this, everything else, it's pretty self-evident, isn't it? Fuck me. As of my recording, it's 21:36 hours Eastern on April 26. Managed to get back into 81, even with this lockdown bullshit that it got triggered in. I guess this is it. Wish I had an explanation. If I didn't still bleed, I don't think I was dreaming. I've had dreams when I was dreaming. But I wake up and I'm still here. Still here. Alone. And everyone's gone. Sent me to check the signal they had picked up near Joppa, off of 70. Quick little exploratory mission. I was the closest. I pop in there and find this cave, and on the other side, there's a world I just left, but it's this one. This is the world I ended up in. The grass, the birds, things dropping out of the skies, and dark things floating in the water. People everywhere, lying where they stood. And the silence. Oh, God, the silence. Not even birds or bugs, just wind and nothing else. I came back to report on what I'd seen, and I don't have any answers. I don't think there are any. I don't even have the right words to say. This world is different from the one I saw in the cave. People are moved around. The data's different. Things are different because it's my world. This is the one I left. This is... My family is here and my friends. But now... It's all gone. Everything is dead. There's no evil magic, no supernatural stars, no futuristic ray gun or false vacuum device or... Nothing. None of those things mattered. Nothing we did mattered. It's all gone. Something must have been in that cave. Something must have followed me out of there. Needed me to go in there. Needed me to bring it out. Let it loose. Let it do to my world what it did to that. Maybe it's... hold on. Maybe it's me. Maybe I was the reason. Maybe I am death. If it was there and I brought it back, then I am death. Got myself in a containment cell. I jammed the goddamn door shut. Gonna pull a bullet between my eyes. Everyone else is dead. What's one more? You know, it occurs to me. If you're listening to this, you're death too. Oh, that's a nice little end thing. What does it mean? What could it be? You probably guessed it by now. That person that sent that last audio recording that Keller found was Keller. He put himself in the containment cell and killed himself after realizing that when he crossed over into 2935, the original, from his dimension, which is the dimension that this 2935 takes place in, something latched onto him and went through and killed everything in 2935, his original dimension. Immediately killing everything. For a few days, he went back to the site and lived for a little bit, and then decided, fuck it, and just killed himself, because what else was there? That's why his corpse was rotting, because his corpse still had bacteria on it. And the Keller of the Prime universe realized this after seeing that, and hearing his own damn voice, and seeing his own dead damn body, and said, we have to die, we can't go back. If we go back, we're going to kill our reality too. So the SCP Foundation sealed the cave and basically tried to bury this file, being like, no, you cannot go in there, because you will literally be the death of reality if you go in there. Now, you probably might be wondering, why do I love this SCP? It's simple. It's a cave with a dimension on the other side that something is in there that attaches to you and kills you whenever you come back. Well, because this is a prime example of what cosmic horror is. This is what true cosmic horror is. It is something so powerful and so uncaring that you cannot comprehend it. You cannot understand it, and it'll destroy everything with nary a thought. It could be that this thing is just literally an incarnation of death, and that's just what it does. It is in its nature to just kill. It is a brilliant, just fucking brilliant SCP, and just terrifying across the board for... It's just... There's no... As he says, there's no ray gun, there's no giant monster, there's no nightmare. It's just... death. And that's it. Fun fact, the bacteria disgusting and rotting Dr. Keller could seed new life. True. And he's not a doctor. He's Agent. Because he's in all of in this reality, that reality as well, he was still part of Manifest Destiny. But what if that being discovers the new life and kills it too? I mean, the thing is that what it seems to be is it's like it latches on, and then when it goes into to the new universe, it just does its thing, and then it's just waiting to latch on to the next person. Because if it immediately killed all life that went in there, as soon as Manifest Destiny walked into it, they would have died. Keller would have died. Like the original Keller would have died. Or the second original Keller, I guess you could say. So, in all reality, what it would have been was, yeah, a degree of intelligence, or just the idea that when it senses a large amount of life, or perceives a large amount of life, it could just immediately wipe it all out. So yeah, Keller's corpse could start a new thing, unless that bacteria can't get out of the facility, which, I mean, who knows? Oh, I am so sorry. Okay. Give me just a moment. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. A dinosaur story. I may slightly... Alright, let's go read the next one I said I were going to read. SCP-682. Object Class Keter. SCP-682 must be destroyed as soon as possible. At this time, no means available to SCP teams are capable of destroying SCP-682, only able to cause massive physical damage. SCP-682 should be contained within a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter chamber with 25 centimeter reinforced acid-resistant steel plate lining all inside surfaces. The containment chamber should be filled with hydrochloric acid until SCP-682 is submerged and incapacitated. Any attempts on 682 to move, speak, or breach containment should be reacted to quickly with and full force as called for by the circumstances. Personnel are forbidden to speak to SCP-682 for fear of provoking a rage state. All unauthorized personnel attempts to communicate to SCP-682 will be restrained and removed by force. Due to its frequent attempts at containment breach, difficulty of containment and incapacitation, and high threat to Foundation exposure, SCP-2 is contained in Site Redacted. The Foundation will use the best of its resources to maintain all land within 50 kilometers clear of human development. Description: SCP-682 is a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and observed to engage in complex communication with SCP-079 during the limited time of exposure. SCP-682 appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. See Addendum 682-B. SCP-682 has been observed to have extremely high strength, speed, and reflexes, though exact strength levels vary with its form. SCP-682's physical body grows and changes very quickly, growing or decreasing in size as it consumes or sheds material. SCP-682 gains energy from anything it ingests, organic or inorganic. Digestion seems to be aided by a set of filtering gills inside of SCP-682's nostrils, which are able to remove usable matter from any liquid solution, enabling it to constantly regenerate from the acid it is contained in. SCP-682 regenerative capabilities and resilience are staggering. SCP-682 has been seen moving and speaking with its body at 87% destroyed or rotted. In case of containment breach, SCP-682 is to be tracked and recaptured by all available MTFs, Mobile Task Force, and no teams or fewer than 7 members are cleared to engage. To date, attempted breaches have numbered at 17, while successful breaches are numbered at 6. Addendum 682-2-D. So yeah, the simple thing is, this thing is a crazy big lizard that hates all life in any way, shape, or form, and is indestructible. They keep it in a vat of fucking hydrochloric acid and the motherfucker won't go down. Like, what the fuck? Begin log. Skip to hour 0 hours, 21 minutes, 52 seconds. Doctor, now did you kill those farmers? Now why did you kill those farmers? SCP-682. No verbal communication. Doctor, if you don't talk now, we will remove you from this and attempt to place you back into 682. Incomprehensible. Doctor, pardon? Motions to move microphone closer. Incomprehensible. Speak up. To personnel D085. Move the mic up closer. 682. They were... To personnel D085. That microphone has only so much gain. Move it closer to it. Personnel D085. His throat's messed up, man. Look at it. He ain't talking. Gasps and screams. Appearing to assault D085's body. They were disgusting. Doctor retreats from the room. Oh, Jesus. These are all just breaches. Termination options. Log of event 682-E18. Doctor attempts to use SCP-409 and SCP-682. General Blank, and Dr. Blank observing. 0400. Exposure. 682 begins to tear at the point of contact, causing massive trauma to the area. 682 requests several times to know what it's being exposed to. 0800. Crystallization begins, spreading much slower than normal. 1200. 682 shows sign of extreme pain and begins to have seizures. 1300. Crystallization stops at 62% conversion. Crystallized area explodes, causing massive physical trauma to 682. 1400. 682 recovers from exposure despite the loss of limbs and organs. 682 begins regeneration, stating that it will attempt to kill and consume all staff involved with event 682-E18. 682 now appears to be immune to 409. Use of other SCP items to terminate 682 must now be first tested on samples of 682 before full-scale testing. In accordance, the Doctor recommendations, see document 27B-6, Dr. Blank and Blank, have requested permission to attempt the termination of SCP-682 using 689. This request is currently pending the approval from the... It's been suggested to Dr. Gears, SCP-182, in an attempt to communicate with 682. 182 has expressed reluctance and refuses to enter the containment center of 682 if at all possible. Oh, this is a termination log. Oh, wow. Oh, that's... I can't even see the scroll on the side. Oh my god. This is just termination logs on 682. Like, I'm scrolling at a pretty damn good pace. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh. Okay. That's insane. Now, what is 409? No physical contact must be made with 409 for any reason. Anything making physical contact with 409 must be contained in quarantine immediately, along with any materials used in the transport of the subject. 409 must be kept in the granite case at all times. Any transportation of 409 must be done in a sealed granite container. Residue from 409's effects are to be sealed in granite containers along with any tools used to transport residue into containers. Well, I think 682 is one of the classics, so it makes sense to have all that material. Yeah, that's just years and years of just adding on to 682. Description: 409 resembles a large quartz crystal approximately 1.4 meters, 5 feet tall, and 0.6, 2 feet wide. Any objects coming in contact with SCP-409 will begin to crystallize after 3 hours. This effect will occur in any material other than granite. Crystallization will spread by approximately 2.5 centimeters, 1 inch per minute, and will convert the entire object or organism inside and out. Subjects report this effect to be extremely painful and similar to frostbite. After complete crystallization, the object will begin to make snapping and creaking noises for approximately 20 minutes, before bursting into thousands of fragments with great force. Anything touched by or touching a fragment will immediately begin to crystallize. Nothing at this time is able to reverse the effect in organic matter, including amputation of afflicted areas. Inorganic matter will only crystallize for a few centimeters around the point of contact. 409 was recovered and expunged under a pile of crystal shards several feet deep. Losses of personnel during recovery were high. That's fucking crazy. Huh. Alright, what is 182? Oh. You can enter the mind of creatures. Interesting. Huh. That's certainly new. I mean, I should definitely read 6 and a half J, right? No, we'll save that for another time. Let's see here. Six, 8, 2. Whoa. File 1 of 2. Yeah, if I read this one right now, we're not really gonna have any time for World of Horror. Not that we have much time for it anyway right now. Huh, that's fucking... Alright, this is definitely on my list. And I don't want to read this one unless I'm in streaming, so... Alright, next stream of SCP I do, 6820 is the first one on my list. Okay. Cool. Well, let's see here. Should I read one smaller one before we go? You know what? That's my first time doing an SCP stream. You know what one we need to read. Oh, wrong one. SCP-173. Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at any time, and the doors to be locked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Moved to Site 1993. Origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move within a direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with SCP-173. Personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull, or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. One origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. The image used in SCP-173 article is the art piece Untitled 2004 by Izumi Kato. Photograph was taken by Kaisuke Yamamoto. All rights are reserved by the artist. Note of caution. SCP-173 is a secondary use of the image of the art piece Untitled 2004, which was created by Izumi Kato. The concept of SCP-173 does not have any relationship with the artist's original concept of Untitled 2004. The sculpture, its likeness, and the photograph have not been released under any Creative Commons license. Only this text of this article is released under Creative Commons. The scripture and its likeness may not be used for commercial purposes under any circumstances. Izumi Kato has graciously chosen to allow us the image of Untitled 2004 by the SCP Foundation and its fanbase for non-commercial purposes only. Do not contact or negotiate Izumi Kato about anything related to SCP-173. Do not negotiate commercial license of SCP-173 images at all. Do not ask the SCP Wiki to handle Untitled 2004 commercial licenses negotiations with Izumi Kato. Untitled 2004 images are not available commercially for use in condition with SCP-173. There is no exception. So yeah, this created this entire website. This. Think about that. This picture, these words. This entire website exists. Izumi Kato is a real horror element here. Oh, I mean, someone just took something they found creepy and was like, how can I make this even creepier? And they made this. And it's still scary, like the concept of something. It's the angels from Doctor Who. It's literally like if you're not looking at this thing, it will just move. So you have to keep looking at it. Well, what if you blink? Well, it's gonna move then, isn't it? What's that line? Blink and you're dead. Don't blink, blink and you're dead. Just like that's a really terrifying concept of the idea of something that can move so easily as long as you're not looking at it. Just good, amazing stuff. So I'd like to make this a regular thing. Honestly, because I'd like to read SCPs I've never read before, and I'd like to learn some more SCPs. So it's also one of the main SCPs in a lot of fan games, which I think was the Femur Breaker Scream comes from. No, actually, we read the Femur Breaker one. That is SCP-106. Yeah, let me bring that one up specifically. 106, the old man. In the event of a breach event by SCP-106, the human within 10 to 25 age bracket will be prepped for recall with a compromised containment cell being replaced and restored for use. When the cell is ready, the lure subject will be injured, preferably via the breakage of a long bone, such as the femur, or the severing of a major tendon, such as the Achilles tendon. No. I mean, the audio file from the game didn't mean SCP-173 requiring the femur breaker. Oh, yeah. It came from the SCP Containment Breach game, the femur breaker noise, with the dude screaming his goddamn head off because you broke his femur. Like, to break a femur takes a lot of force. You can't just, like, smack someone in the leg with a sledgehammer or something and break their femur, so... Oh, jock SCPs. Oh, look at them. There's so many jokes. George Washington entertaining a gentleman friend while picking his nose. Laser butt disease. But like some of the... I don't want to actually... I realized I don't want to do that because I don't want to bring up anything that is super bad. Actually, let's do... So we're going to put up that for a minute while I look for some stuff. Some of the ways that people have created stuff with the SCP is like... Like, this thing right here. Look at this thing. Saying that it's a shell and it was hiding something on the inside. That's just horrifying. There was one that they did for an edit of a game one. And I want to see if I can find it. Oh man, I love the humanized versions of 173 where it's like, oh, it's a sexy girl. It's like, what's wrong with you people? Let's do 999. Oh, we'll have to read 096 at one point. 682. Like, this was the... Oh, come on. I just want the picture, man. Because I don't want it to show up like a picture that could have me anything help to me. Anything like bad, I should say. Oh, I don't want to go to Twitter. Stop it. I just want the picture. Alright. Can I expand this? How do I expand this? I don't use I don't use this stuff very often. Yo. Okay, yeah, we're doing this. We're bringing this up. Bonk. Like, look at that. That's crazy cool looking. This poor bastard right here is done for. Oh my god. But like, this is the original picture that I knew on the website, and then they changed it to this one. That's just... Some of these are just so... Oh. I don't know why they always just depict it with hair. They always show it has hair on it. Oh, God. I knew someone that had this as their icon for a while. Damn, we really gotta kill this thing. 682. Don't worry, Colgate Gator isn't real. Aw. SCP-682 and 053. Aw, it's adorable. I'm like slowly scrolling just in case I see something that's like, nope, nope, not that. Well, they always show it with hair, and I'm like, when does it say it has hair? Oh my god. Here you go. Here's SCP-682 in Minecraft. That's nutty. That's cool. Yo. That's another thing I do like about SCP, because it's like this could be what 682 really looks like. This could be what 682 looks like after it just got out of the acid pit. Like the ideas they have are so, because they just use this, and that's why the image is here, and this is why they gave it hair. But it's like that could just be gunk that rotted off of it. Roblox. Oh my god. Why does it have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Does it have 8 eyes? I mean, it looks cool, but it's a rotten porpoise or something, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Oh. I'm probably. Hold on. Let's put up the. Let's put up the Emi sit before I look up 2662. Okay, that's not too bad. Like this one's kind of cute. He just looks like he's kind of done with shit. And then you have this one, which I've seen a lot. Is it's like, oh no, here we go, here we go. Oh. Oh my god. Nope, stop it. That's too funny. Da, 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 da. That's too funny. Alright. Well, that was our brief glimpse into the SCP Foundation and the horrors that lie beneath. I'll try and do this more often. See if we can do some more streams of this and have some fun. Let me get rid of that. Bottom of the screen. It's like readings, except I get to talk more during it instead of just reading an entire thing. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. If anything changes, I'll inform and let people know. Because I'm getting hungry. Oh, excuse me. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Always fun to check stuff out, and especially always great to get the SCP stuff. So, yeah, thank you guys again. Next time when we do SCP readings, like I said, we'll start right with 6820, because I've never read it, and I'm not going to read it until then, so it's going to be fresh for me. So, thank you guys, and that's all I got.